Hello, welcome to our weekly Facebook Live. I'm Tammy from Acclaimed.
And I'm Acclaimed, Kevin Lackey, furnaces, air conditioning, water tanks, humidifiers, duct cleaning.
Service extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us this week. Our weekly Facebook Live, what we do is we touch on Dear Keven letter and then talk a little bit that's going on with the furnace and duct cleaning industry and HVAC. So, all right, so our weekly, the letter this week is about from a customer that has a problem with exhaust for their furnace.
Yeah, this is a pretty common thing, and there's like a really, really good lesson in here. That's
yeah,
great.
So we just hit right that?
Let's hit it.
All right, so ready for the letter?
I'm ready for the letter.
Okay, Dear Keven, I am wondering if you could give me some advice on my furnace exhaust pipe. My neighbor says that it is blowing out ammonia and killing their hedge. We ourselves have not smelled anything inside our house. They have requested that we put a 90-degree pipe to divert the exhaust. Would this cause condensation to get into our furnace? Signed, not a hedge killer. Talk about relationship woes there.
Yeah, there is. And this is a great question. There's kind of 3 or 4 really important points to this. This is a great question from a customer because her neighbor was complaining about the hedge. It's absolutely true that the exhaust from a high-efficiency furnace that exits the horizontal foundation level of a house is very toxic. So it's all of your furnace flue gas, which is very toxic. It contains ammonia. It's very humid, just like a dryer vent as well. And there's a lot of ways that it can damage things. One of those things is shrubbery and trees and flowers and things like that. Okay. It doesn't damage all varieties. We've got one at our house that's like a rose bush or something like that, and that thing's really hardy, and that blows right into there all the time. It's pretty stable. But there are lots of times where that's not the case. And the City of Edmonton has a code requirement that you can't point that at something that's kind of closer than about 8 feet away from the foundation where it comes out of the foundation. So that would include things like a big shrub like that. Okay. A lot of times it's a fence. So a lot of people have a fence line that's only 3-4 feet from that foundation wall. And that's one of those things as well. It's like it's a code requirement.
Okay.
Right? So an elbow that she's suggesting there, it's a really good suggestion, because what that does is it is going to, instead of going straight out into the hedge, she'll divert that gas.
So we have a little visitor.
Hello, visitor.
This is Arrow, who's, as you hear a little bell dingling in the background, we put bells on the office dogs so that we know where they are. So,
Yay!
Poor Arrow. Okay, sorry for that distraction there.
What do you mean? You're welcome for that distraction. That's the best thing.
So you're saying, okay, over here, Arrow. Nice to see you.
Arrow wants to read the letter.
Yeah. So now, what else would it affect in terms of damaging things?
Yeah, so there's really important things with that. There's code requirements that are very specific to protect both you inside of the house on that, so make sure that your furnace gases are not coming back into the house. It's a very valid concern because your house also has to have an intake makeup air vent that is purposely bringing air in, and it's attached to the return air vent in your house. So when your furnace is blowing the gas out, it's also drawing fresh air from outside into the house to circulate through with the air. And so if that exhaust air is going...
Sorry, I'm listening to you.
This is like the most serious one we've ever had.
I know, but the dog is chewing on an electrical cord. So let me just... I've got you.
What's the worst that could happen?
Okay, keep on going. I'm listening.
Okay, well, here we go. It is a very serious topic. So we have a very serious situation when the exhaust gases are coming back into the house. And you will smell those, but they're really not detectable. But that's where you get all the carbon monoxide from and a lot of other really, really unhealthy things.
Yes.
So there's the intake that brings air into the house through the duct system. And then your furnace has an intake which is bringing in the fresh air from outside.
Right.
And that's going through the combustion chamber. So if that humid air that's leaving through the exhaust comes back in through that intake as well, you won't smell that in your house. It's not going to affect the air quality in the house, but it will damage the furnace to some degree because you have this toxic acidic gas getting back into your furnace, which is not good. And that's when kind of snow and hoarfrost, they call it, builds up and it will knock your furnace right out. And we did a big project, which is a 13-story condominium, where the furnace pipes were going out of the building and they were going out underneath the concrete decks above them. Concrete decks crumbled.
Yeah.
Huge cost for all those people.
Yeah, it's really impactful. So
super impactful.
So there are solutions.
There's solutions. It's something that you absolutely need to get an HVAC professional out there to take a look at, because modifications are normally something that can be done to really improve things, but it's very important to get it done properly so it still meets code requirements, so it's still really, really safe. It's one of those things that a homeowner should not do themselves. They need to consult a real professional to do that.
So the situation here with this hedge, it would be a violation of their code requirements if it's venting out the way it is. It's just not very...
Yeah, I don't say, you know what, I haven't actually been out to this person's house. They just kind of, I think we're going on next week. But this is something where I don't know if it meets code requirements or not. It's not something that I would know at all unless I went out to take a look at it.
Yeah, we've seen, then the code requirements change over time. So things change in terms of intake and output of all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I've seen decks rot out too. You know, when that stuff is going out underneath the deck completely rots out.
Right.
And that too.
All right, so there's a solution, and
solution.
I'm sure these people are hoping that it wasn't them that is killing the hedge, but can you imagine that conversation?
Well, I can, and the thing that worried me about that letter is they were concerned that ammonia and the gas is coming back into the house.
Right.
And it probably isn't.
Right.
But again, if you're concerned about that, definitely have to consult a pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great solution, or a great question for them. That's an important impact. Impact for the hedge, impact for the relationship between the neighbor and them, for sure.
Yeah.
So the things that we have coming up in Acclaimed is we are a drop station for the Christmas Care Package campaign.
Yeah.
And this is, and again, it's in reverse, but what they are looking for, what we're looking for, the Green Thumb Landscaping is heading this up, and they're partnering with a bunch of different individuals, and including some people from our company. Mallory's a big part of this. And they are looking to get backpacks for some homeless youth. And then that's a pretty impactful care package that they're putting together for the youth, for sure.
It is. Like, Tamara from Green Thumb is kind of a friend of the company. We've known her for a while, and she came up with this initiative. This is not the first year it's happened, but it's catching steam. We're one of the drop-off points and a huge supporter. Everybody in our company is involved. There's a lot of things that you can do to help that, but the biggest thing is going to our website, making sure that you get onto that link and understand it in terms of where the drop points are. It's backpacks and kind of the essentials that people need every day that we're trying to fill those backpacks up with. It is a very impactful thing. It's a kind of a part of society that a lot of people I don't think really think a lot about, and there's not as many things to help those people. It's a great thing. Hopefully people will check it out and contribute to that in some way. Yeah,
a lot of people talk about the children for Christmas. They have Santa's Anonymous, which is also a very worthwhile event. But this is the gap in people that have nothing for Christmas. And it was interesting for me when we heard about how many youth are actually homeless and going to school.
Yeah.
And how they are basically living out of their backpacks, so like shampoo, soap, all the essentials of things that they need, that they are just surviving to get through school, which is it's huge.
Super important. We're really happy and proud to be a partner with that.
Yes. And the other big event that's going on in Acclaimed is that we have an entry for the Festival of Trees at Gingerbread House.
Yeah. Melinda, Mallory,
Chris,
Adam.
No, Chris and Kurt.
Chris, Kurt, Adam, Mallory.
Yes, and they are doing a gingerbread submission for a gingerbread house submission for the Festival of Trees. And the theme of the Festival of Trees is Baby It's Cold Outside, and how much better of entry could it be, an HVAC, keeping the house and your family warm for the winter season. And awesome. I can't wait to see it. They've been very creative, because they all are very creative.
So creative.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that they're going to do the drop-off on Tuesday. So we will see that. That will be happening next week, I guess. In a couple of weeks from now, they'll be doing it. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is what's going on with the world of Acclaimed, and things going on in the world of HVAC. And it is warm out. So make sure you put a lot of windshield washer fluid in your cars, some salt on your sidewalk. No, we don't want anybody to fall. So
okay, one last thing.
Okay.
We bought 15 bottles of sidewalk salt, or we thought we did. Al from the company, he brought them in. We were going to put one in every truck so everybody can kind of sprinkle those on all the walkways going up to people's houses. Because you know how treacherous it is.
Yeah.
Imagine carrying tool bags and things like that, and how terrible it would be to fall, right?
Absolutely.
It's terrible. It's a huge, huge problem. Well, in our office here, I took one of those and I went outside and I undid it, and I was like, why is there like a water spout on here? It was like a watering can spout. It wasn't the salt.
what was it?
It was liquid. It was like a liquid, like almost like a windshield washer kind of fluid to put on sidewalks. Seriously, for real. And number one, it didn't really say on the package anywhere. It looked like anything else. Number two, it didn't work at all. So if you're going to buy it, try to avoid anything that's a salt kind of thing that's advertised like that looks like it's laundry detergent, like in a Downy container.
Okay.
Blew me away.
All right. Well, make sure that we don't do that again. We have a lot of.
Well, they're all going back.
We have a lot of these that we have here now.
And they're all going back.
Okay. All right. Have a great weekend, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good weekend.